Hey everybody, it's Krista again. I'm Little Wren. I'm a channel and I will just deliver whatever message Spirit tends to bring to me. And I've been off for about a week, guys, so sorry if you have been looking forward to hearing anything. I always feel that it's important to come to the table when I get called to come to the table, and I really felt like it just wasn't the right time. So yeah, I just last night I actually did do some yeah, I'm always a little bit hesitant depending on what the message comes through. I am a divine feminine, and I'm also on a twin flame journey, and I'm also a channel and a star seed, all of which have been very big things for me to come to terms with. Just so you know, you might have heard a lot of these terminologies and wondering what they mean. Let me just encourage you to go and research that stuff for yourself. I have been on a huge spiritual awakening, and my life is really making a 180-degree turn from where I was originally. Some things have just gained so monumentally, especially my spirituality, that has taken a very swift curve from what it used to be. I came from a very religious background, and now I'm into deep spirituality with crystals and tarot and looking at star seeds and twin flames and all kinds of things. I have some guides that I have come to know, and they have been simply amazing, and this world is just really not what we've been kind of, I think, told to be. I think the world is in a great awakening at the moment, and there's this great conflict between what we would describe in spirituality as the 3D world and the 5D world, really, and this disbelief in the 5D just being kind of, I guess, the magical spiritual realm, and the concept that there is more than just our physical bodies, and that has been such a strong leader for centuries, I think, not centuries, but certainly in this last century, where there's this kind of rejection of God and the spirit world. And I believe strongly now that we're entering very rapidly into a very different era. Anyway, I don't know why we're starting with that channel. That's kind of come left of field for me. I had a lot of messages come through kind of this morning and last night, but honestly, whenever I sit down at the table, especially if I start turning on the camera, nothing of what I have been learning or going through or thinking through or receiving in the day can necessarily matches up with what is presented today. So when I come to the table, if I am being drawn to give you a message, the message is always something that I guess whoever is watching this it's meant for you. So please don't doubt anything that is said during this reading. Anything that is said is meant for you and for your healing, your well-being, and to help guide you towards spirituality. A lot of my energy is about awakening you, about stepping forward, helping you to step forward and help to guide you in the process. It is extremely daunting when we're awakening to a spiritual reality. And the things that keep coming forward can be simply mind-boggling and feel unreal. It just doesn't feel real, like it can't be real. And I really want to assure you that these things are real, and it's important to start that process of opening up. And that is really the hardest step, is when our teaching and our beliefs and where we've been in the past are suddenly being deeply and profoundly challenged. It is absolutely terrifying. And I really mean that. It is absolutely terrifying, especially for anyone who may have had very rigid beliefs about the spirit world, about the, feeling that the spirit world isn't, it's just a figment of our imagination, or it's a mind trick, it's a way to cope or something like that. And for those who have had a profound spiritual awakening, we understand that where you're at, but we also want to, I guess, say that it doesn't, I guess, belief is kind of irrelevant. And we want to encourage you that it's always, that there is two coexisting realities, and they require each other. They need each other to balance and be together. And we've been living in a world these days where that reality has been denied. So I guess if you're here, I'm really feeling that anyone who's drawn to hear this particular message is that you are experiencing promptings from spirit, and your mind is rejecting it. And they just want to assure you that that's completely normal. And so many people go through this on their spiritual awakening, because too often our foundations, or what we've been told, are unfortunately incorrect, or it's only partly correct. And to challenge our foundations actually often upends our entire life. It upends our relationships, our friendships, our family life, our work life, and everything that we have built our life upon up until this present moment. And this is really happening on a worldwide scale, but at an individual level, it is absolutely terrifying. And they want to absolutely assure you that you will be okay, that you will receive guidance, that they deeply and profoundly love you, your guides, whoever they will be. I don't know who they will be. You will have to be guided towards that. But they want to see if you are able to open up your mind to the potential of, I guess, for lack of a better word, the magical, miraculous potential that they are suggesting does exist. It's very hard when we come from a very science, fact-finding background, because it really has it's a great resource. However, what they would like to say to you is that it's not the only resource, and it's always a balance of the two worlds. And what they're asking is that you would open up your mind to just ask the questions, to simply ask the questions. If it is real, what does that mean? And perhaps you need to have that science background. Use the scientific method to look at the world, to ask the questions. They're okay with you asking the critical questions. However, the thing is with spirituality is that you actually do have to take a dive into it, to open yourself up to it, not to overthink it, but to release the idea that it's impossible. And that's all they're asking you to start with. If it is real, then why not accept it? I feel like I'm certainly speaking to skeptics today. And I really want to, well, I guess thank you. I'm here, I'm really feeling like if you've been called to watch this today, then you are here for a reason, and you have been guided to it. And I think if you are still watching, then please, I really hope you keep investigating for yourself. So I'm going to start already. That was quite it's very heavy energy, and I'm feeling, for those of you who aren't familiar with what a channel does, we really are just a vessel where spirit will speak through us, and we have to be in a very open, receptive state to do that, and not doubt anything. So the tarot really is, we can just look at it as a whole lot of picture cards, and they just help guide us. And it's just a physical way of showing you the cards, but there's no rhyme or exact way. There's not a rule, okay? If you're somebody who has come from that science world and you're looking for a rule, the rule is your intuition. That is the rule. That is the guideline. It's not a hard, fast rule, because it is about how spirit speaks to you and how you interpret, and what messages and the things that come out of your own mouth, or the visions that you get in your mind, the feeling that you get in your body, the feeling that you get in your heart, all those kind of sensory things. It is extraordinarily experiential. And that's a very difficult thing to deal with when you're have that science extreme, I'm going to use the word extreme logic, fact. I believe it when I see it. I believe it when I have the evidence put before me, because spirituality is truly about an experience. It is experiential, and therefore not calculatable. Sorry, that's not an intelligent word. It's not something measurable. That's a better word for it. I think it's not necessarily something measurable. And so that's can be a very daunting place to be, because for many people, when we are really stepping into that realm, the question is, how do you know it's true? And that's really the point, is that it has to be something that you trust within yourself, firstly. And the only way to do that is not to rely on any other person, but to rely on what you receive and the messages you receive through spirit, and through those ways, however it is that spirit speaks to you. And every person is different, because we are individuals. So the spirit world really will speak to you according to how it is that you're able to receive it. So if you need science, they will use science, but they will use anything. And maybe they'll throw something out there that's for you to just mind boggle you. And that's the point. Really, it's about listening to that inner voice and learning to trust it, and to see that when you do, the evidence of, oh, I'm sorry, I just bumped my camera. The evidence of going through that process is really, again, it's experiential. You have to learn how to trust that and learn how not to trust when you're kind of going off course. So yeah, it's really important to do that. I'm not really specifically feeling right now that I'm going to receive anything from the cards, but I am receiving this really strong message about this. This is really left of field for me. This is not something, and not a message that I was actually expecting to receive. However, we will just continue forward and we'll take it as it comes. So, okay. So this happens to me a lot. For me, I don't have a method of reading the cards. The cards simply fly out, and that's usually the energy that I have to go with. So I will try and teach you as we go what I see in the cards and what they represent for me. So we have the King of Cups. So this is a masculine energy. Cups always represents love, emotions. It's watery. It's that kind of very emotional, gentle, loving, kind, compassionate, caring, masculine energy. And it's the king, so we have different varying levels of social or status symbols, I guess, kings, queens, pages, knights, all that kind of thing. The king is one of the highest, the greatest, the one who has the most to offer, other than the emperor and the empress. They're the top of the tarot deck. So I'm going to suggest that this is our main figure, the King of Cups, who is the most beautiful. This is a beautiful masculine energy. We all love the King of Cups. Very beautiful, gentle, emotional, loving, kind person. So over here, hopefully we can see this okay. I'm sorry, I've got a new setup here, so sorry, got to try and see where it is. Let's see how these go. Just going to lay them out like this for now. So this is, I guess, our story. Now, this may be related to you, it may not. When we talk about, again, reading the tarot and spirituality, it's all about what we intuitively are guided to read. Oh, I'm so sorry. I keep missing this. I feel like it's like, oh, this is shaky, isn't it? Shaky ground. I feel like nervousness, I do. I feel a lot of nervousness. And that happens when we're really lacking confidence, isn't it? When we're just not sure about what to do. And I can feel it in my voice. I can feel it just kind of in me, a sense of nervousness. So I'm going to suggest that in this storyline, this is our main character. So what we have is we have the Lovers. We have a lot of major arcana and all that kind of stuff. We have our Three of Pentacles, which has come in reverse. When we look at this is usually three people who are working together. We can speculate what they're doing. There's a cathedral. They're working hard at building something together. Although we can see there's just one person working and two people planning. Then we have our Knight of Pentacles, which many readers would suggest is the slowest knight in the whole tarot. He's just like they're stood still. And when we look at Pentacles really refers to values, to investments, it can be money, the coin, the 3D world, which is appropriate since what we've been talking, what I've already started channeling. It's a lot about the 3D physical world. And I also like to refer to it as the values, what we invest into. This is something, what seeds do we plant? Where do we plant them? Where are we heading? And the Knight of Pentacles is someone who is intensely thinking about who they are, where they're heading. They're not moving a muscle. They ain't going nowhere is what they had. So this is something that's it's actually a very important stage of life when we're looking at this. This is a you know, someone who they've gone past the page stage, and they're really entering into more maturity. This is the young adult, I guess, the way I'd like to describe it, is someone who's really starting to go, okay, I've had some experiences, now I'm really starting to settle down, starting to think about things. And yeah, what we have here is you have the Ace of Pentacles, which is in reverse, again, and when we see the hand of God, this hand, we tend to think of this as the hand of God, as an offering or a new beginning. And of course, an ace is the new start. This did come in reverse. So yeah, we've got the Three of Wands. Wands is a fire energy. It's passions. It's all that kind of stuff. This person's in tatters. He's holding on to one wand and he's got two behind him and he's looking forward. This is someone who's been on a tough journey, who's just, they look tired to me, but they're looking out and beyond. Interestingly, it's under the Three of Pentacles, and that's kind of interesting. Here we have the Eight of Cups. Again, cups is something, again, those emotions, those things that they loved, but for whatever reason, they are walking away from them. In the dark, this is like almost secretive. There's a secretive kind of walking away. However, in the reverse, this is someone who I would suggest is thinking about it, is really thinking about it and hasn't walked away. This is someone who has not walked away, but I really like that it's come under that I have actually, not intentionally, but normally I would read it like this, and the only reason I placed it in this order was because I needed to see, I wanted you guys to be able to see it on the camera. However, everything that happens is for a reason. So it's come under this Knight energy, this thinking energy, and I would suggest that this is also a thinking energy. Not walking away, standing still. Again, I feel like this is a big confirmation of thinking. And that's a really valuable and a very key place to be in our lives. And we do have these moments in our lives that we come to for whatever reason it is. And we have to be able to process a lot before we can step forward into something else, which is, again, very much going along with what I was saying earlier. And then down here we have our Seven of Swords, and Seven of Swords is certainly, it's often quite mischievous is the word that is coming to my mind. Mischievous, but also deceptive. This person's sneaking away, and it kind of looks like he's stolen things from this camp, and yet he's looking behind him. It's almost like that feeling of he hasn't got enough. There's just not enough. I need more, and yet he's got 5 swords, but he still wants the other 2. That's kind of the lacking satisfaction, thievery, deception, all that kind of thing. However, it's come in reverse, so thank goodness, that's a good thing. Someone who's no longer in this energy. And then we have the Hierophant. The Hierophant, I find the Hierophant, it can mean so many kind of different things. Whenever I see the Hierophant, I also tend to think of the Magician because of the symbolism in the robes down here, and I don't feel like that's necessary to talk about, but I do feel like the Hierophant is someone who, it can be religious factors, it can be marriage, it can be something that is either a bringing together or a pulling apart as well. And more often than not, whenever I look at this, I have a tendency to feel like it's a separating. When you see this, I tend to think of it as someone who is separating and creating something that's quite rigid and new rules, new guidelines, and all this kind of stuff. And I have some reasons for that, and it is very much related to the Magician card when I see it. And yeah, the thing that's coming to my mind is at the moment, it's like government, state, I don't know, something that's very rigid and these are the rules, this is what you have to do. However, it's in reverse. So again, this is very much confirming what I was channeling at the beginning of the message, is that when we are deep in thought, we're thinking about things, sometimes we do have to put aside what we once knew, what we held to be true. And I do understand that position very, very well. My background was a very strict religious Christian evangelical upbringing, and I was in it all my life, deeply, went to Bible college, all this kind of stuff, and I understood the tarot as something very evil, as it's not real, or it's not that it's not real, but it's kind of devilish and dangerous, and you have to close your mind to all these things. And Spirit, on my spiritual awakening, has challenged that deeply and profoundly, and I was shaking in my boots, terrified that I was on my way to the pits of hell. Should I embrace anything like this? And as I took that step, I was absolutely guided and shown so many things. And right now I have no doubts, and I don't doubt anything that I receive intuitively anymore. And the thing is that it has headed me into the right direction, and it has healed me more than it has done anything else that I've ever done. I've always gone to counseling if I need it, and I always will. I will use anything that's available to help me heal, or to mature me, or grow me, or push me in the direction that's going to bring happiness and success and abundance in any way. But when we're very rigid, unfortunately, if we're too rigid, if we're not open to simply discovering truth, then you can't actually mature or grow. And there's a great limitation on you if we can't release that. However, what I'm feeling is that because it's in reverse, what I'm seeing is someone who is actually taking the time to think about it. Now, I haven't really glanced even at the Lovers, so we've just kind of done a little read through what we're seeing here, and there is a very clear story. The other thing that I do when we look at the tarot is we want to look at where the characters in the cards are facing. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's very shaky ground today, is it? Everything happens for a reason. My elbow's right there, so it's easy to do. Again, I'm trying to work out a good setup here, but it's all depends. Then it can change anytime. I'm still working it out. When I look at this character, this is someone who's got their back to this particular thing. So there's a sense of, whenever I see threes, you always think just three's a crowd. There's been a community, something that this person has turned their back on. They've also turned their back on potentially a love situation. The Lovers is a divinely guided partnership, and I'm going to suggest romantic partnership, that this angel is trying to bring these two together. The Lovers is one of the best cards in the tarot. Sometimes it can just be a partnership. Something's off about this though. again, I'm going three's a crowd, three's a crowd, three's a crowd. And this person has certainly turned their back on it. But they've turned their back on this also. And sometimes we do have to do that. If we have confusion, when we have confusion in our life, especially when it's related to relationships and all that kind of thing, one of the things is the best thing you can do is kind of just remove yourself. You know, there's no hermit energy here, so that's interesting. Really, it's just, I would say, just thinking and processing, and that is, again, I'm just I'm feeling like applause. Yay, that's really great. That's great. It's a great place to be, and it's so vital. It's so important. It's so important. That's just coming through really powerfully and really strongly. I don't doubt that the importance of taking time to work out who you are, what your values are, what you want in life, what you're going to achieve, who you're going to be, where you want to plant that seed, is so important. So really what I'm feeling like is that this situation is very much on pause, it's on hold. This is a good thing, okay? This is a divinely guided partnership here. However, this person has certainly turned their back on, well, all of it. So, and this is spirit, I think, also suggesting that there's no beginning at the moment. This, I'm not hearing ending. I'm just hearing there cannot be a beginning. And there's something, again, it's just, there's a looking at this. I like that this one, the three of wands is in the center of all this that's going around. He's up at the mountain, you know, he's kind of looking out over everything. He's looking at it all. He's looking at it all and really thinking, just thinking so much about it. And I'm not being guided to tell you which way to go. All I'm hearing is, yes, this is the right place to be. And I really feel like I'm almost just like, that's enough. Again, I always get that, no, that's enough. That's the message. That's it. It's so important. That's all. It just keeps coming back and I don't want to over repeat it again. This is so important. It's invaluable to the rest of your life. And this is where you will find that certainty and that confirmation for where you're going, what you're doing, who you're meant to be. I just think it's a really solid, it's just so important. Sorry, it's so important. It's just coming back over and over again. And I'm being drawn back to this card again. And we know that the King of Cups, this cup, might have walked away from these cups. They're okay, but for whatever reason, or they haven't walked away, but they're holding on to them still. They're still present. But this King of Cups, the love that he has to offer is the best. The King and the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups, they're the match, you know. But when the King of Cups offers his love, whoever receives this, wow, what a lucky person, you know. What a lucky person, because this is the best cup. And this cup should not be given incorrectly, flippantly, or without deep contemplation. And what I really feel like is that this is kind of more like the hidden energy. And this is why this is taking so much thought, and it's so important. I'm gonna keep saying that over again. It's so important, and it shouldn't be done with any pressure, with anything, with any stress. It should be done when it's absolutely the right time and when you know beyond a shadow of a doubt. So in terms of the lovers, this is also Gemini. It says, address your addictions and become a clear channel. So that's definitely a little message for me. And also for you. Again, I'm always saying this, no matter what, I always end up closing like this, and I'm like, it's so raw for me. Sorry, I'm a bit speechless for a minute. So sorry. Whenever I finish these messages, and I'm doing this for the collective, for everybody, but I want to assure you that whatever message I just knocked, again, shaky, isn't it? It makes me feel very vulnerable as well, because whatever is here and it is meant for you. It is always meant for me also. And that puts me in a very vulnerable position, because I'm exposing this to you, to the world. And I want you to understand that you're not alone. And this journey is profoundly difficult. It's so hard, it's so painful, and it does make you feel very shaky and uncertain. And we're put in that position so that we can grow, so that we can have that firm foundation, so that we are never shaken again. Really, it's to make you rock solid. And that is really the hardest thing, is starting it. The hardest thing is taking that step and doing that. So maybe you are going to become a channel. And as far as addictions can be anything. Let's just list a few. Of course, you've got your normal ones that are always your obvious, your drugs, your alcohol. It can be sex. It can be food. It can be pornography. It can be literally anything. It can be watching too much TV. It can be sleeping in. It can be not cleaning your space, not caring for yourself. It can be a person. It can be, I don't know, anything. It can be anything. And addiction is really something that is, so let me just talk about addictions for a minute. Addictions are really just something that often we feel, I'm going to talk about control. It's that feeling of not being able to control something. So when we're out of control, when we can no longer, something is controlling us, that's a really important thing to think about, because it's never just something straightforward. It's never just a thing that if I'm disciplined enough, we should be able to get control of it. There is always something that is fueling this behavior. It is a behavior that is bound through by something else. All right, and it is a deep and actually, I'm going to say blatant reflection of a core belief or a core something that is failing you. It's something that we develop in order to cope. It's something when we haven't been able to handle, or there's been an event or something has happened that has caused us not to be able to control our circumstances. And that happens to us often when we're children, doesn't it? Children are so vulnerable. I was just talking about this earlier. This did come up earlier in a conversation I was just having, where we were talking about childhood and trauma. And when we have traumas, and as children, we are completely vulnerable. We are completely vulnerable, and we are 100% reliant on our caregivers. And the reality is that not everyone is perfect, and parents aren't perfect, certainly not. And sometimes we've been left in very terrible situations where abuses have happened, and we haven't been able to control those circumstances, and we have that feeling of powerlessness, and lacking power in our lives comes up in very funny ways as adults. And when we have that lack of control, we have to think about what occurred really. What is it that happened to us? We have to have that moment of reflection. We do need to often investigate the past a little bit. And please let me encourage you to go and see a counselor, go and see a psychologist, to talk about those things. Because if this is something that clearly needs to be healed, and it may not be something that you can do on your own, and that's okay. It's okay to get the help that you need. Because if we didn't receive the help and the guidance that we needed as a child, then it's important for us as adults to take back control of that and to understand that we can heal from those childhood woundings where we had no control and we had no power to stop what has happened to us or those experiences. So please don't fear that. Again, I'm everything that I shared at the beginning, it's kind of, I feel like it's rounding up again, is that I did share that with you. I will go to counseling, and I will go to therapy. I'll do anything it takes to heal my own issues. And I really encourage you to do that, is to use both the spiritual world and the normal means, doctors, medicine, anything that is necessary, and use both to start the healing journey. It's two sides. It's both the 3D and it's the 5D. And if we ignore both sides, then we get imbalanced, and chaos really is something that ensues. I'm going to just give you a prayer card. Whoop. And we'll just leave it at that, because that is a very, very strong message. They came out really fast, didn't they? I wanted to shuffle more. Yeah, 3. Okay. Direction. And I feel like this did fall kind of over here, so that's very, very, very helpful. And I'll read that. Lord, please show me the right action right now. Please bring a sign and a miracle that gives clear direction. May I hear the promptings of my own body, and if for some reason I'm about to head the wrong way, please stop me. This is a prayer that I'm saying on your behalf, and I do understand it's quite hard to pray if you haven't learned to pray before. Prayer is simply talking to Spirit, just like I'm talking to you, in the same way. They don't need a ritual. They don't need any of that. Just talk. That's all they ask. Service. You stop using the universe to try to get what you want and start asking love to use you. You offer all and want to be of service. Ironically, many desires become fulfilled without grasping or manipulation. Whew. I really, really love that. Interesting. That took me a little while to understand what that was, because, you know, there's that old saying of ask and you will receive, and that is absolutely true. But there's a little side note that the spirit world and religious people don't really talk about, and that is energy, vibration. Understanding that you actually have to be in the right state. I'm going to use that word. The other words that I might use are a vibration, or you have to be in the right energy, the same wavelength, in order to receive what you're asking for. And trying to trick spirit is a really foolish thing to do. They see everything. They see you. They see your heart. They see what has happened to you. And it's important to just start opening up to them and saying, I remember this happened, and I'm hurt, or I'm angry, or I'm scared. We don't want to manipulate spirit. It's co-creation, and we need to consider them like people, like flesh and blood, like we would talk to each other, like you're sitting in this room across from me and we're having a conversation. They're beings that exist, and they love you, but they want to communicate, and they simply ask you to talk to them. All right, and not to think, if I put these stones here, if I do it this way, that's a very religious kind of mentality, is if I tick this box, follow this rule, then I'll get what I want. That is manipulating the universe. And what they're suggesting is, no, just heal. Just be in the right vibration. That's all you have to do, is to be you, to be the glorious you that you're meant to be, that you are, but to feel it and know it and feel comfortable in your own skin and be happy and ready and welcoming and open to receive it. Sanctuary. A sanctuary resides inside you no matter what is happening. This inner temple beckons you to enter. Take a deep breath, enter, and sit down on the throne of your own heart. Isn't that appropriate? King of Cups. It's okay to accept yourself as you are, to see yourself because you are seen, you have been seen. And that might bring up a whole heap of other things for you, but I can assure you that everything happens for a reason, and you are deeply and profoundly loved, cared for, wanted, cherished, appreciated, valued. Sometimes we have to understand that we are worthy of so much, but our upbringing, our woundings, our childhood, or whatever it was that's happened in the past, is not a reflection of who you are or what your worth is. It is simply an experience, and potentially one that is going to help you in the future, even though you may not understand or see it now. It will come together, and that is part of the spiritual journey, is to awaken, accept, and to start to learn. Just be into a learning state, self-acceptance. It's really beautiful. They're just asking you to take a moment in a temple, thinking. I love it. So I'm going to leave you with that, my friends. And again, what a message. I want to thank you for coming, and I will always come and continue to do more. I come when I'm called, and I'm ready to do more as I go. I also have my WordPress site. There's a little button you'll see on my home screen, and that will take you to a whole heap of channeled messages that I have accumulated. There is Twin Flame stuff there. If you resonate with twin flame stuff, then by all means use it. How it works is that you will see a huge menu, and what you do is you just allow your eye, this is an important part of training your intuition, is allow your eye to be drawn to whatever it is that you're being drawn to. You click on that heading and you do that as much as you need to. There's no advertising, it's a free site at the moment. That menu will always remain free. I'm thinking about doing some other things later. I'm not sure if that's going to be my main page or anything like that, but for now, use that site to hear more messages. Everything is valuable, everything is important, and I truly wish you well, because this is, like, again, I can feel that anxiety. Sorry, I'm touching my heart. I can feel that anxiety. And it's a very painful part to break down your own walls and your own barriers. But you will be caught. You will be caught. You'll be carried. Okay. Because great things are meant for you. Beautiful things are meant for you, despite what you've experienced. I love you and I truly wish you well. Thank you. Bye.